Welcome to the Seniors Rock Show, presented by the Law Office of Michael Robinson, PC, on News Radio, Wham 1180. The Seniors Rock Show, a lively weekly discussion, shining a bright light on aging with fun, entertainment, and important info for all adults. Join in with your comments or questions. Call or text 222-1180 or 1-800-295-1180. Now from the News Radio Wham 1180 studio in downtown Rochester, here's your host, Joanna Palvino.
Good afternoon and welcome to Seniors Rock Radio. Thank you for joining us today on this holiday weekend. My co-host Mike Robinson of the Law Office of Michael Robinson and I are ready to rock another hour, so let's get to it. We have two great guests today. First, we'll talk with Dr. Laura Petrescu of Athena Direct Primary Care and Lifestyle Medicine. Direct primary care is new to our area and might be an affordable alternative to insurance-based primary medicine for many. So listen for that. And then FITZ, the owner of ROC VOX Recording and Production, has the basics of podcasting to share with us. So that'll be later in the show. I'm looking forward to that because we are planning on doing a podcast here with the show. So we'll be filling you in on that later. But if you think about it, listen up and you'll hear 101 on podcasting today. But first, we're going to go to Mike, and he's going to fill us in now on, I think it's number 4 of his Basics of Estate Planning series. And again, if you haven't heard the first 3, you can go to the website. It's seniorsrockradio.com and just go back 3 weeks and you'll see where that starts. And Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I hope you're having a good day and you're ready for a holiday.
Yeah, happy Saturday, Joanna, and to everyone listening, happy Labor Day weekend. I'm not going to call it the end of summer. It's not the end of summer. We've still got a good solid month of good summer to come. But yes, we are going to keep going with our series. And, last week we looked at how your estate is handled if you die without any planning and the problems that can present to your family, including expensive and lengthy court proceedings. So this week we're going to look at one tool to address that situation, and that is a will. And I think most of our listeners are familiar with what is a will. A will is a legal document where, among other things, you specify who is going to receive your estate when you die, whether it's personal property or real estate or financial accounts. In a will, you also name the person you want to be in charge of your estate and who will be responsible for seeing that your wishes are carried out. And you can specify not only who receives your assets after you're gone, but also how those people receive your assets. So, for example, you might specify that a younger person have their assets held in trust for some period of time until they're mature enough to handle their inheritance properly. And you can also include planning in your will that will avoid your family having to pay estate taxes. So a will can be an effective tool for addressing many estate planning issues. But there's always a but, right? There is what I consider a significant downside to using a will as your primary estate planning tool, and that is a will requires probate. Now, Joanna, I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of people over the years who think that a will avoids probate, but the opposite is true. A will can only be implemented if it goes through probate. So what is probate? Well, probate refers to the court-supervised process of validating your will, appointing the executor you nominate in your will, and then overseeing the distribution of your estate according to your directions set forth in your will. Now, last week we examined the court process required when someone dies without a will, called intestate administration. And we looked at the various steps involved and the problems that can arise in that court proceeding. Well, the probate proceeding is nearly identical to intestate administration, the main difference being that in probate there's a will involved. But just like with intestate administration, in order to commence the probate proceeding, you need to prepare and file a petition with the surrogate's court asking to be appointed the executor of the estate. And Joanna, that's another misconception that so many people have about wills. They think that if you've named someone in your will to be your executor, they're automatically your executor when you die.
And they're not?
They are not. That person is not an executor until a judge says so and issues a formal order appointing the executor. And so when you hear about people's accounts being frozen when they die, that's why that happens. It's because they're waiting for a judge to appoint the executor, and until that happens, no one has legal authority to access that account. So also to begin the probate process, various family members are required to be provided with a copy of the will, and they need to sign a document agreeing to the executor's appointment. Of course, there's a fee that has to be paid to the court, and that's based on the size of the estate. If there are children under the age of 18 involved, then once again, the judge has to appoint a lawyer for the child who has to interview the child and file a written report back with the judge. And it's only after all of those proceedings take place and the judge is satisfied that you are an appropriate person to appoint, will the judge issue the order formally appointing you as executor of the estate. And I really am oversimplifying here. There's really a lot more that goes on in this proceeding. But once the executor is appointed, now they are legally bound to follow the provisions of the will. And at the end of the process, they have to prove to the judge that they have distributed all assets according to the terms of the will. So while a will can be a tool to make sure your wishes are carried out when you die, the actual implementation of your will can be a lengthy, expensive, and stressful process for your family. And so it's no wonder that people look for ways to avoid probate if they can. And next week, we'll begin examining what are some strategies that people use to avoid probate and the relative benefits and pitfalls of those strategies.
Oh, another interesting series addition. Thank you, Mike. And I guess a simple will is not so simple after all. And it is very time consuming, it sounds. You didn't specify how much time all these things take, but if there's, judges and lawyers and all kinds of things going on here with family members, seems like a lengthy process as well.
It takes, you're looking at several months at a minimum, and very often it's a year and a half or more. And so, yeah, it can be very stressful for families.
So what happens then? The person who has passed away, and all of these things are happening, to make sure that things are taken care of as well as they can. What's happening to that person's accounts in that time? I mean, what happens to all of those things? Is someone going to have to be responsible if there's late payments? I mean, what's happening?
So it depends. And yes, I mean, sometimes there are interest and penalties for late payments. Other times, creditors will understand the situation and they'll waive those. But
And
yeah,
who
it can
would-
be a problem.
Who contacts the creditors then? That whoever put the will together?
Well, it would be the named executor, the nominated executor, but really they don't even have authority to talk with creditors until the judge appoints them. So it's an issue.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, as they say. Well, when is the next webinar? Because I think if people have questions, that's a good place to ask them. And you have them almost every month. So go to mrobinsonlaw.com, and you can see when the next one is and sign up. It's real easy. You just have to register, and you will get all the info you need, and you'll hear lots more from Mike, and you'll have the ability to ask him questions directly and even to meet with him if you're interested in later. So thank you very much for that. And stay tuned. We're going to go to break now, but we'll be right back on the Seniors Rock Show on News Radio WHAM 1180. Stay right there. Our area's first direct primary care practice, Athena Direct Primary Care and Lifestyle Medicine, is open. Direct primary care is an innovative alternative to traditional corporate-style primary care, where you pay a monthly membership fee. There are no fee-for-service payments, no third-party billing. So less paperwork leaves time for extraordinary direct access to your own private physician, a members-only phone line, and unlimited, unhurried appointments. And other services are included too. That's all for one low rate. Athena Direct Primary Care is accepting new patients for a limited time only. Book your free meet and greet with Dr. Laura Petrescu today. Learn about this wonderful new practice, including membership benefits and the costs, at athenadirectcare.com. That's athenadirectcare.com. Or you can call It's 585-662-5510. This is the Seniors Rock Radio Show. Our guest today is Dr. Laura Petrescu, an internal medicine specialist, lifestyle medicine specialist, and certified physician executive. Her story is as unique as her new practice, and her practice name is Athena Direct Primary Care and Lifestyle Medicine. It opened in January of 2022 and is the first and only direct primary care practice in the upstate New York area today. What is direct primary care, you ask? It's an alternative to fee-for-service insurance billing, and it gives patients direct access to their own personal physician in highly personalized primary care. Dr. Petrescu is a double board-certified physician with over 20 years of clinical experience who's received multiple awards, including Top Performance in Patient Experience from Rochester Regional Health and a Teaching Faculty of the Year Award. Dr. Laura loves spending time with her family, hiking, skiing, reading, listening to classical music, and she plays the piano too. So I'd like to welcome right now Dr. Laura Petrescu. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Hi, Joanna. I'm really happy to be in the studio again with you and Mike today, and thank you for the invitation.
We're really happy to have you here. And, you know, the first time you were here, Doctor, we talked about what is direct primary care. And I think we need to revisit that because it's important. It's so new here. So, Mike, you want to ask the first question?
Sure. And Doctor, thanks for joining us again. So can you tell our listeners, what is the difference between direct primary care and concierge medicine?
Right. So direct primary care and concierge medicine are similar concepts, and oftentimes they get confused. They both offer a membership-based model of practice. The biggest difference is concierge medicine physicians typically charge a yearly retainer fee. That is a few $1,000s just to be a member in the practice. And typically they charge insurance. So for every visit, every time, for every treatment procedure done in the office, people are expected to pay co-payments, co-insurance, deductibles. So at the end of the year, concierge medicine is an expensive service. That's why we like to see direct primary care as an affordable option, concierge level services, but an affordable option for care.
That's, Doctor, the concierge medicine really is for people who have that extra money. And I understand they also have things like coming to your home and doing those sorts of things, which isn't typical. So it's very different than direct primary care, right?
Yes, correct. So home visits, we do home visits in direct primary care as well, but typically there is no co-payment or co-insurance for those visits because we do not bill insurance. All our services, everything in the office, including procedures or treatments in the office, are included in the monthly membership fee at no extra cost. So it's a simple model of care and very predictable expenses for the year.
When you say predictable, it's a monthly expense. And I say expense, I should say it's more of an investment. So I guess let's go to direct primary care, Doctor. What are the main benefits of direct primary care? We know it's not concierge medicine. We know it isn't as expensive as concierge medicine, and that is for, you know, an elite few. So tell us about direct primary care, because I know that's for everybody.
So the main benefits of direct primary care are the unlimited guaranteed access to care. If you think about it, having health insurance does not guarantee access to care. And how often do you hear people waiting for weeks and months for an appointment for a doctor's office? And when that happens, it's a typically 5-7 minute appointment, rushed appointment, where the doctor is clicking away at the computer and never making eye contact or really listening or answering questions. So the way the traditional primary care is set up, it has become very non-personal, if you will. And direct primary care is taking primary care back to good old-fashioned family medicine, where there is no middleman, it's the doctor and the patient, and there is no administration, no insurance restrictions or rules to set up how the care is delivered. And that having that peace of mind that you have your doctors, your personal physician that knows you the best, always available to you, is I think the biggest benefit of direct primary care, establishing that long-term relationship with the same physician that you trust and you know and they know you, and that's one click away.
Yeah, and I was very impressed when I asked you, Dr. Petrescu, how did you get into this? What made you do that? And you said to me immediately, I didn't go to medical school to sit and look at a computer all day. And that made so much sense to me because that is the picture of my ex-primary doctor. That's usually what he was doing. He was looking at the computer and talking to me and telling me what I'd already seen in the portal. So that was so refreshing to hear. I just wanted to say that.
And what's the relationship between the direct primary care and health insurance? Do people still keep their health insurance?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I have members who have no insurance because they're, transitioning, or they're small business owners who do not afford the insurance. But the truth of the matter is most of my members do have insurance, and they choose to a high deductible plan, for example, right? So they save money on their monthly premium, but still have that coverage just in case they need to go to the hospital or have a surgery or see a specialist or have a procedure done. At the same time, coupling that high deductible plan with my membership would give them the peace of mind to have good access to their own personal physician whenever they need care, and save money because they pay less in monthly premiums.
Sure.
And when we say that it's affordable, I mean, I've looked at the rates that you charge, and it is a flat monthly fee. It's very clear if there's other things that you need. In fact, the lifestyle medicine is included, which I thought was amazing. And all you have to do is go to the website, folks. If you're thinking, there's something hidden here, there isn't. And the fees are very clear. There's 3 levels based on age, and it's probably less than you're paying for your cell phone bill. Let me tell you that.
That's a very true, Joanna. And affordable is a very relative term because I like to look at this as more of a value. How much do you value your health care? And if you think about it, we spend money every month on restaurants and other things that we may or may not absolutely need, but having your own personal physician available to you whenever you need care with guaranteed unlimited access to care, that is where the value is. And affordable or not affordable, this is less than an average cell phone bill.
Yeah.
And less than $100 a month. So, it's everyone's calling and where their values and priorities are.
Absolutely. And the website, by the way, is AthenaDirectCare.com. That's AthenaDirectCare.com. And it's a refreshing new thing that's available here for direct primary care. Dr. Laura Petrescu, we're so happy you're doing this, and we're going to make sure everybody knows about it. So we'll try to share this and make sure our friends share it too. And before we go, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I want to thank you, Joanna and Mike, for having me. This is wonderful what you do for the community, and I'm happy to be here.
We're happy you're here too.
Thanks so much again for joining us. And folks, stick around after the news break. FITZ, the owner and creator at ROC VOX Recording and Production Studios, is going to be with us next, right here on News Radio Wham 1180.
When you've lost movement, flexibility, strength, or balance, traveling a long distance for physical therapy seems like a bad decision. That's why Agape Physical Therapy has a convenient location near you, east side or west side. And there's a new location in Pittsford with Aqua Therapy. Let Agape Physical Therapy and wellness professionals customize a treatment program for you to help you recover quickly. Visit agapephysicaltherapy.com and schedule your free consultation today. No doctor referral needed.
And welcome back to the Seniors Rock Radio Show. And in the studio with us now is someone who did not have to travel far to join us today, since this is actually his recording studio. Scott Fitzgerald is in the background of many audio recordings and podcasts. He is the president and head wizard of ROC VOX Recording and Production Studios. And you've probably heard his voice before, since he's been on Rochester radio for years, including as the morning host of one of our local stations. Add that to a 26-year career in video, production, filmmaking, voiceovers, and podcasting. And that's why we invited Fitz to jump on this side of the mic today, to give us a 101 lesson on podcasting. And Joanna, podcasting is a hot and sustainable medium that is defined as the practice of using the internet to make digital recordings of broadcasts available for downloading.
And I'm so happy that Fitz is with us today. You know, his dream of owning his own studio has come true with ROC VOX Recording and Production right here in Pittsford, New York. It was designed purposefully for podcasting. And podcasts, as you said, Mike, are really growing in popularity and demand. That's why I call Fitz the Prince of Podcasts. You can hear him laughing. You hear his voice through the whole thing. Welcome to your own studio, Scott Fitzgerald, our friend Fitz.
Thank you. Princes have better shoes than I have, but that's okay. We'll let that go.
It's something to aspire to, right?
Exactly.
So, Fitz, when did you first get into podcasting?
That goes back some years. I want to say it's 2006, 2005 or 6 when the podcasting thing first came around and everybody was talking about it and I was trying to understand it.
I don't think I even heard of it then.
You remember a thing called MTV?
Oh, I do. Yes.
The thing where they used to play music on the television.
They used to, yeah.
So there was a VJ on there named Adam Curry, and he and another guy pretty much just invented podcasts. Huh. And it was very heavy in coding. It's much easier today than it was back then. You really had to know a little coding, and it was basically a blog with audio attached. And that was back in like 2005, 2006 when I first got into it. And boy, we've come a long way since then.
Yeah, they've tweaked it a bit, just like some of these other platforms I won't mention.
Yeah, it's really hard to keep up with technology.
It is. And so I'm glad that you're doing it. And tell us a couple of things that have changed.
So, well, first of all, the name podcasting itself is sort of outdated because it started with iPods. And it was downloading these shows that were recorded to your iPod. Well, Apple doesn't make iPods anymore, and we all have the same, everybody's phone is basically what an iPod was aspiring to be. And so that's kind of the main thing that it's changed. And your definition is spot on because now it really is using the internet to make a digital recording of what would normally be a broadcast, a radio show or an interview or anything like that. And now it's not really for an iPod, but it is a digital download and anyone can do it.
Anywhere.
That's
right.
true.
That's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty of it.
I listen to podcasts when I'm washing the dishes or, just going in the car somewhere.
Yeah.
So it really is convenient. And I wondered too, why don't they use it? And I've seen people do that, Facebook Live with it, but I like just the audio because it's so much easier.
Yeah, there are people who like both sides of it. You can do a podcast and then have the live video or a video recording, as you can see in the studio here. We've got cameras and stuff for that. Right. And some people plus having a video aspect to your podcast does help with the promotion side of things and the algorithms on the internet and YouTube and stuff. It does generate some more views, but there's a lot of techno babble in there too.
Right. Interesting.
And I know, Fitz, a lot of people are trying to do podcasts these days. What do you think is one thing people really do incorrectly when they're podcasting?
I would say probably how they use the equipment.
How so?
It's a tie. So a lot of people that podcast like this, and I'm sure everyone's going, what happened to Fitz? Where does voice go?
Having bad mics.
And their microphone is too far away from them, or they're in a room. They don't have the right equipment for the environment. And that's really the biggest challenge, to have the right kind of mic for the right kind of room. Because you can do quality work if you have those two things in agreement. If you don't, you've got a loud room. How many times have you been on a Zoom call and you heard someone talking and it sounds like they're in an echo chamber and their voice is really thin, and it's kind of like, I call it the Zoom twang. It's grating. Right. So
and it's hard to listen to and concentrate.
Right. So if you're able to do a little research or ask an expert about what is the best equipment to use in your particular situation, because everybody's situation is different, that is probably the number one thing that I see people doing incorrectly when they start podcasting.
And I think if they're just doing it on their laptop, for example, sometimes you hear rustling of papers and the equipment. It matters. Yeah, equipment matters. And let's see, your studio is amazing. We're sitting
Thank
in it
you.
now.
Thank you.
And how's it grown? I mean, what kinds of changes? And don't get too technical because I won't be able to understand it. But what's changed since you opened here in 2018?
It's really been an interesting ride because, as you know, the pandemic changed a lot of things. So my core business when we first opened was the e-learning voiceovers, where someone stands in the booth there and we narrate e-learning modules. Mm-hmm. And when the pandemic hit, a lot of those companies kind of ended their budget for that, or at least put it on pause. But a lot of people started podcasting and live streaming, and the whole virtual thing really took off. We were using Zoom for years before everyone jumped on, and now I'm kicking myself for not investing. But so that's one of the big things. And we started doing a lot more audiobooks, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the virtual and a lot of people going online. And I don't know about you, but I listen to audiobooks constantly.
I know. I see you post about them.
I constantly. I'm a freak about it.
What's the difference between an audiobook and a podcast?
Well, one is scripted. One, you're reading the actual book that's written down. And most podcasts are like this, a radio show where people are having a discussion or doing an interview or something that's not as heavily scripted.
Okay. Is there any, do you see a direction that podcasts are going? Are they changing again now? I mean, are the things still changing, or is it kind of settled?
It's always changing. It's always
technology
changing.
is always changing,
and it's really hard to keep up. The biggest thing is people need to get specific on what they're podcasting about, because I think that's the biggest thing. There's a joke in the podcasting industry called podcasts are like babies, because everybody can make one, but should they all be making? Anyway.
Good point.
Is that okay for this radio station?
I think you're good.
And so having a really good direct plan for your podcast and making sure that you don't veer off the plan too much is really important.
Gotcha. Hey, Scott, this has been great. Thanks so much. And folks, we've got to go to a break again, but we'll be right back to wrap up another hour of the Seniors Rock Radio Show here on News Radio Wham 1180.
Effortlessly healthy meals are fresh, fully prepared, ready to eat, and hand-delivered. As a senior, I appreciate the 10% discount, and I love the never-frozen big variety of heart-healthy meals I get to choose from each week. Effortlessly Healthy is locally owned. Meals are perfect to send to a senior loved one. Just heat and eat. Effortlessly Healthy, delicious food, convenience, and a 10% senior discount. Stay healthy, stay happy, and stay home. ehmeals.com. ehmeals.com, 585-254-0078.
The Law Office of Michael Robinson, P.C., has helped families protect their hard-earned wealth from nursing home expense, probate, and taxes. Visit us online to register for our free educational webinar to learn how you can protect you and your family. mrobinsonlaw.com. And welcome back once again to the Seniors Rock Radio Show. I'm estate planning attorney Mike Robinson here with Joanna Palvino, and we still have FITZ with us here in the studio. So, FITZ, what's your advice for someone who wants to start a podcast?
My advice would be to get in touch with me by going to my website, rocvox.com. That's ROCVOX.com. I actually have a podcast 101 course that you can sign up for. We're also getting more into the community. We did this big camp with the Rochester Museum and Science Center over the summer, and we're going to do that again next year. So if you have young people that are looking to get into podcasting, that's a really great way to start. And you can also just send me an email and I'll help you get going. Even if you end up not using the studio, I'm happy to help people to get them, on the right track.
Great support here. And FITZ, tell them what your email is.
It's FITZ, F-I-T-Z, at rockvox.com.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful podcast, live stream, voiceover studio, folks. So check it out. And if you have dreams of doing a podcast, you can do it here. Right?
And we have snacks.
And snacks. I know. I forgot about the snacks and
that's
water.
Key.
Oh.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks again, FITZ.
All right. Well, Joanna, getting close to closing time on this holiday weekend. And what do you think about a little Labor Day reflection?
I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So for most folks, the thing they savor most about Labor Day weekend is that extra couple of days to relax or maybe get away for a long weekend. Yeah. But the holiday also provides an opportunity to reflect on all the hard work you've been putting in, regardless of what your job title might be. So this is a time to celebrate and honor workers in all parts of the economy.
And we decided to bring you folks, you listeners, a few inspirational quotes on the importance of hard work, reminding us all that our labors are worthwhile.
So, Sophocles is credited with saying, "Without labor, nothing prospers." Thomas Edison, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." And then Vince Lombardi, who was one of my favorite quote machines, "The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand."
Good one. They're all good. I've got a couple for you. All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence. Martin Luther King Jr. said that. Oprah Winfrey reminds us that the big secret in life is that there is no big secret. Whatever your goal, you can get there if you're willing to work. And finally, Maya Angelou said, "Nothing will work unless you do." So there are some motivational quotes for Labor Day, folks. I hope you enjoy them, along with your cookouts or visiting with relatives, your trips, going out into the woods, whatever you're going to do. Enjoy and remember to thank yourself for the hard work that you do.
And, it's just coming off the pandemic, and I know we've talked about this before. In fact, I think we talked about it last Labor Day, is it really made clear the contributions that everybody who works makes in society and just making everything go. Mm-hmm. And so it's, it is good to recognize everybody's hard work, recognize the value that everybody brings, and not get hung up on people's titles and the letters after their name.
Yeah, I think I read it was about 80% of the workforce will be off on Labor Day, but there are still quite a few people that will be working, and they'll be working behind the scenes in their important jobs, first responders, people in hospitals. There's so many people that are out there working all those days that you're taking off, so be thankful for them as well. And if you maybe you call someone that's working or send them a little text or a note and say thanks, and we're thinking about you today. But I think bottom line here is we're trying to remind you that whatever you do, whatever you've done in your life or your career, it's important. We're all in this life together, right, Mike? We're working towards walking each other home, you say?
There you go, Ram Dass. We're all just walking each other home.
There you go. There's another great quote.
So, yeah, everybody have a wonderful Labor Day weekend and a great week ahead. We'll see you back here next week on the Seniors Rock Show. And as always, be well and be kind.
And Fitz, would you like to say anything to the listeners before we have to close?
I want to say the ending with you. That's what I want to say.
Oh, I love you.
I'm looking forward to this.
I can't get anybody to do it or do it right.
I'll do it
except
with you.
for Fitz. See? He's a professional, total professional. So we're going to have some fun here today. And we do have some fun planned for the holidays. We'll tell you about that as we get closer. Don't forget, we come back every Saturday. We hope you will too, from noon till 1 on WHAM 1180. And we are the Seniors Rock Radio Show. One of a kind, right here in Rochester and all over the world on iHeartMedia, or iHeartRadio, it's called. So you have a safe and happy holiday weekend. And you can shout this from your grill if you like. Are you ready? Seniors Rock.